But we're going to put at least a 100% tariff on the business they do with the United States.
And America is under siege. The world is rapidly moving away from the dollar, and Donald Trump is at the epicenter of this financial storm. His hardline ultimatum to BRICS, 100% tariffs and lifetime expulsion from the American market for any country that challenges the dollar, triggered not just a wave but a tsunami of global resistance. But this conflict is not only about numbers and sanctions. It is a struggle for the future of the global economy. BRICS struck the first blow not with slogans but with action. Over the course of 2 years, the bloc's countries accumulated more than 600 tons of gold, but not to store it in vaults. This is their financial shield in a post-dollar world. At the same time, efforts are ramping up to create a unified blockchain system, BricsPay, a decentralized platform capable of bypassing SWIFT and any American sanctions. Its goal is to give countries the ability to trade with each other without using the dollar, turning the U.S. currency into just one option, not a global obligation. Brazil took the lead. In 2024, as chair of BRICS, it expanded its Pix digital payment platform and integrated the new SML system for settlements in reais with Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. While the data processing speed is not yet impressive, the goal is clear: to eliminate the dollar as a mandatory unit in foreign trade. This is not a local experiment, but a political signal. The dollar is no longer the master of the game. China and Russia are going further. They are creating banking channels independent of SWIFT. Iran and Russia are merging internal systems for bilateral trade. India and Russia are already buying and selling oil in rupees and rubles. South Africa is increasing settlements in yuan. The world is rapidly transitioning into a new era, an era of multipolar financial architecture in which the dollar is losing its monopoly. The expansion of BRICS is a signal of the final collapse of the old order. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Indonesia, and Egypt are joining the bloc. These countries possess not only vast economic resources but also strategic significance. Their desire to move away from the dollar shows that the old center of gravity is crumbling. America responded with aggression. Following Trump's statements about 100% tariffs on any goods from countries promoting alternative currencies, markets reacted instantly. Nasdaq dropped by 2%, the S&P 500 fell by 1.1%, and the GDP forecast model from the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta showed a 1.8% decline in U.S. GDP for the first quarter of 2025. These are not just numbers, they are warning signs of recession and possibly of stagflation. U.S. economic instability is worsening not only due to BRICS. Europe and Canada are also refusing to follow Washington. The European Union has hardened its stance, condemning the policy of new American tariffs. The European Commission is already considering retaliatory measures, particularly against goods from states that support Trump. At the same time, the EU is strengthening ties with Canada, Japan, and South Korea. Tesla, a symbol of American innovative power, is facing its greatest crisis in Europe: a loss of 14% of market share in Norway, divestment by the Danish pension fund, a boycott in Sweden, crashes in the German and British markets. All these are consequences not only of business mistakes but also of Elon Musk's political statements. His support for far-right parties from AfD to the UK's Reform Party, criticism of European regulators, and refusal to recognize labor unions have led to a collapse in trust. Canada, meanwhile, is making its choice. The new leader of the Liberal Party, Mark Carney, is not just an economist. He is the former head of the Bank of England and the Bank of Canada. He began his political career with a direct confrontation with Trump. After the introduction of tariffs on steel, aluminum, lumber, and automobiles, he declared, "Canada will not back down." Under his leadership, the country is strengthening cooperation with the EU, purchasing European weaponry, and reducing dependence on the United States. And here the question arises again: how honest are the motives of the United States? The new wave of tariffs is allegedly aimed at combating fentanyl, but the statistics clearly show less than 1% of the substance enters through Canada. The main flow comes through Mexico. The logical question arises: is this really a fight against drugs or simply economic pressure? Meanwhile, in the United States, the situation is spiraling out of control. Former Trump supporters in rural areas, farmers, veterans, and workers, are facing the brutal consequences of his policies. Rising unemployment, bankruptcies, loss of health care benefits, and this is only the beginning. People who voted for Make America Great Again are now taking to the streets, demanding real change. The deeper layers of the American economy are collapsing. Markets are in decline, cryptocurrencies are volatile, and trust in the government is rapidly eroding. Amid sudden tariff shifts and the breakdown of global supply chains, businesses are facing colossal costs. This is driving up prices, reducing purchasing power, and ultimately causing economic paralysis. While America tries to prove its strength through sanctions and tariffs, the world is turning its back. China, in response to the latest U.S. tariffs, is not only targeting American agriculture, but also threatening to restrict exports of rare earth metals and high technology. The consequences of this strike will be devastating for the U.S. defense and electronics industries. If Washington fails to find alternative sources of supply, it will lead to production delays, rising costs, and a loss of competitive positions on the global stage. Increased prices on electronics, smartphones, computers, and even military equipment will inevitably impact consumers. One question remains: will America be able to adapt to the new reality? Or will it end up as the loser in a new global financial architecture where the dollar is no longer king? This is not just a trade war. It is a fundamental shift, the beginning of the end of the unipolar world. And those who fail to recognize the changes today may be left without a future tomorrow.